Hi there, thanks for joining us for today's video. Please make sure that you click subscribe to keep up to date with all of our content. This will include short how-to videos, webinars and demonstrations of all of our products. Check out the links in the description below to check out any content related to today's video, and we hope that you enjoy it. Hi there, thanks for joining us today for this, our first of our series of Snapcall First webinars. So today we're going to be looking at getting started with Snapcall First. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Alice. I'm the training manager here at Tobii Dynavox UK. I've been with the company a little over 4 years, and I've previously been an account manager and recently switched to this training role. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the different topics that we've got coming over the next few weeks. So today we're going to be looking at getting started for Snapcall First, and we'll look at setting up a trial, and then we're going to look at a number of different aspects of using Snapcall First, including looking at customizing, building skills, developing communication partner skills. So please do check out our website to have a look at any upcoming dates that we've got, and we'll hopefully see you there. So for today's session, what I wanted to do is to give you a bit of an overview of Snapcall First. So for those of you that are maybe new or would just like to find out a little bit more about Snap and how it was developed, and then I'll go and give you a bit of a demonstration, and then I will show you how to set up your own free trial. So Snapcall First was our symbol-based software that is created on 3 pillars for communication success. So these are the 3 themes that we wanted to concentrate on and kind of promote as we were developing it. So those are engagement, growth and literacy. So we're going to have a look at each of those pillars and how we've kind of implemented those within the software. First of all, I wanted to just give you a little bit of a background on some of the language that's available within Snap and how it's organised and why we've done that. So we know that as verbal communicators that we use both two main types of language. So those are novel and formulaic language, and we use those in combination with each other to allow us to be clear and efficient communicators. So formulaic language are those kind of chunks of language that we use in specific situations, and mostly kind of social situations, that allow us to be really efficient. So an example could be, if I met up with you this morning and said, "Hi, how are you doing?" Your response most likely would be, "I'm good, thank you, how are you?" And then the conversation would go on a little bit like that. And those are kind of phrases that we've got locked and loaded in our mind and know that we can use those in specific situations to engage socially. So that takes up quite a lot of the language that we use very specifically in social engagement. The other type of language that we use is called novel language. And this is where we're going to kind of word by word build a sentence that's going to be a little bit more specific. So an example of that would be if somebody was to ask me how to get to Hull, I would have to give them some really specific instructions of, okay, you need to go into town, you need to join the M6, then you need to get off at this junction to join the M42. And so I'm very specifically putting some sentences and directions together to make sure that I can provide a precise message in that moment. So traditionally, our AAC, some of our previous offerings, have tended to offer either one or the other. So we've either focused on providing formulaic language within our system, or we've provided novel language. But what we wanted to make sure was that Snapcall First provided both, because we know that that's going to provide the most success for our users. So the way that we did that was we created some different tools that would support both novel and formulaic. So I'm going to go through some of these tools now. So remember, we've got those 3 pillars of communication success. So the first one is looking at engagement. So how could we support engagement and successful engagement through Snapcall First? So the goal was to provide tools to engage in meaningful conversations. So we've done that with 2 tools. We've done that with quick fires and topics, and these are going to be the tools that provide that formulaic, those chunks of language that we know are so important for that kind of engagement. So These buttons and phrases allow us to engage in those meaningful social interactions. So it's going to be things like if somebody asks, how are you? We can respond with, I'm good, thanks, how are you? Or if you walk into a shop and the shop assistant says, can I help you? We can do things, no, I'm good, thank you, just looking. Or if somebody knocks on the door, I can open the door and be like, can I help you? So it's all of that kind of language. So you can see in here that we've got some ready set phrases and topics that we can use in quickfires that can help us engage with that. Topics follow a similar concept, so it's all about formulaic language, but in this instance it's going to be really context specific. So for example, with this one, we've got a bubble page that's all about bubbles. So the aim of the kind of use of this topic is to be able to communicate and engage in meaningful conversations around this topic, which is bubbles. So what we've done here is we have made sure that the focus is on providing lots of different types of language. So we're not just looking at making requests or comments. We've got things like questions, comments, directions, statements, positive statements, and negative statements. So the aim here is that we can really provide lots of different types of language. And when we go into the demo, I'll show you a little bit more about how that works as well. So our next pillar of communication success is looking at literacy. So our goal here was to provide a core word set alongside systematic growth, and this is going to be is based on current research, but we've also provided some additional tools that can help develop some of those higher level language and literacy skills. So this tool here is going to be the core words tool that we've got available on the toolbar. So a little bit about this. The reason that we use core words and is actually the most implemented field in AAC today is that core words are a set of kind of small set of words that are really high frequency. So the kind of words that you and I use all of the time throughout the day, but they're also on top of that really flexible. So even if we've just got a small set of core words, we can use them in lots of different situations. So the example here, let's think about the core word more. We can use that at meal times. So I want more cereal. We can use it at play times, more swing. We can use it in teaching maths, for example. So he has more than you. So it's a really flexible kind of set of words that we can use consistently throughout the day. Another great thing about Snap Core First is that obviously we can use symbols. A lot of our users will need to use symbols. But over time, if we're developing some of those literacy skills, maybe we are beginning to be able to read some of our core words, we can actually gradually over time remove some of these symbols until maybe we've got something like this that is more text-based. Another thing that I want to highlight actually before we move on is the kind of organisation of this core word keyboard. So this uses what's called a modified Fitzgerald key, and that basically refers to the layout. So you can see that we are kind of building from left to right. So not only does that support kind of the syntax of the language, the sentences that we're putting together, but also that concept of reading from left to right, writing from left to right. So we're kind of tying all of those kind of skills in together. You'll notice that we've used some colour coding to group words together as well. So we've got questions in blue, pronouns in yellow, verbs in green. And this can help for a number of different reasons. But one that I think is really important is helping to navigate and find some of our words. So we know that our most efficient users can quickly find those words rather than having to kind of scan them. And so by grouping them into different colours, we can do things like, okay, I'm looking for the word go. I know that that's a doing word. Our doing words are in green. I need to look for a green word. So we're just trying to kind of speed up some of that navigation. Another really important tool that we've got available within Snap Core First is our keyboard. So we know that it's really important that everybody has access to a keyboard or some kind of means of being able to access the alphabet. So again, it may be that we've got some learners that are developing those literacy skills and want to be able to start typing some of their words. Maybe through speed, it's quicker for them to start spelling. One thing that you'll notice is that we've got symbol-based prediction up there as well, so that can help with speed as well. So we want to make sure that a keyboard is really important. So maybe, we're not using it straight away, but we want to encourage access to that keyboard as much as possible. The last pillar of communication success is that of growth. So in Snap Core First, we've got two different ways of growing our AAC language system, and that's through size-based and location-based growth. So if we just look at the first top three images, this is an example of location-based growth. And basically what we do here is we start with a big grid. So that decision can be made on maybe the smallest button that we think our user can access. But to begin with, maybe at the beginning of our journey, that is a lot of language for our user to deal with. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to hide a bunch of buttons until we've maybe got something like the first picture. And then as that communication, those language skills develop, we're going to systematically start unhiding those until we've got, eventually over time, and it can be a long time, we've got a full-size grid. Now, a really key importance of this one is that this really, really supports that idea of motor planning. So we know that our most efficient AAC users can find the language that they need to use based on where those words are, i.e. remembering that motor planning pattern. So the example being that I can use a QWERTY keyboard really efficiently. I've been using it for years. It helps me to type really quickly. But when I go over to Sweden and use a colleague's keyboard that's got a different keyboard layout, my typing rate goes way down because there's a whole bunch of keys that are in a slightly different position, and I have to relearn how that is positioned. And it doesn't mean that I can't use a keyboard, I totally can, but my motor planning is completely off, where I should be finding a specific button and it's not there and I'm just having to find it somewhere else. So it's the same with this. So the idea here is that what we're doing is, as we're kind of adding words, all we're doing is adding them around the existing words that we've been using, and we're never moving any buttons. So you'll see here in the first picture we've got want, like and go, and then as we add more buttons, those words are in exactly the same position, same as when we add more. So all we're doing is adding around, and we're not disturbing that kind of motor pattern. The second way of growth is size-based, and if we just look at the bottom three images here, all we're doing here is literally just changing the grid size. So we could start off with something like a 2x2 and then grow up to a 5x5 and so on and so forth. And so that gives us two different ways in which we can actually grow our system. So the really important thing here is that we can meet our AAC users where they are right now, so we can provide them with a system that suits them and their skills, but it can also grow with them without the need for introducing something completely new. So that's a really, really important part. So just a little bit of a reminder of how we can access Snap Core First. So it's available on any Windows 10 devices, so whether that's a tablet, a laptop, or a communication device that runs Windows 10, including our Tobii Dynavox devices. And it also runs on an iPad, so on iOS. We give everybody access to a 60-day free trial. Those of you that are professionals, so maybe you're a speech and language therapist or a teacher, you can actually have access to a longer free trial. It's a perpetual free trial through our Tobii Dynavox for Professionals scheme, and we will provide a link for that for you to access. The other great thing about Snap Core First is that it supports all access methods, so whether you're working with somebody who's using touch, switch, a mouse dwell, or eye gaze, they can all access Snap Core First. So I am now going to go into a demonstration, and I'm just going to take you kind of through what it looks like and how to navigate it a little bit. I do want to just highlight that this is going to be a fairly quick whistle-stop tour, and there'll be some features that you want to dive into a little bit deeper. So please do check out some of our future sessions where we'll be going into some of this into a little bit more detail. But the idea with this is just to kind of familiarise you with the setup and what it looks like and some of the kind of key features. So first thing that I want to note is we've got a top bar up here that's got a couple of different features on here. Things like the home button, this will access the dashboard, but something I want to highlight right now is this search function, this magnifying glass. So one thing that we get quite a lot of when people are starting out with Snap Core First is those around the AAC learner tend to say, we're working really hard, we're trying to model as much as we can, but I'm finding it really difficult because I don't know the system yet. It's taken me a while to navigate to different words that we're looking for. So this search function will hopefully help you with that. So what I can do here is if I click on the magnifying glass and type in a word that I'm looking for, it's going to give me results based on where that word occurs within the system. And you can see this word, for example, cake, comes up in a couple of different varieties. And under each result, it'll actually tell me where that word is. So there's cake in the main list, there's a cake in the related list, there's cake in topics. And then what I need to do is just select the word that I'm looking for. So actually, I'm talking about birthday cake. And what you'll find here is it's actually going to show me how to find that word. And what's really great is I can actually kind of model that navigation as I go along. So let's see, it looks like we need to go to all word lists. Oh, now it's saying we need to go to special days. Oh, now we need to click on birthdays. And there it is.
Birthday cake.
We've got birthday cake. So a really, really useful tool when we're beginning, especially, or if we're maybe just searching for a word that we haven't looked for before and we want to see where it is within that system. I'm just going to come to the side of this top bar. You'll notice here we've got a little light bulb, and this little feature will basically tell you of any new updates within the system. So Snap Core First, we're continually trying to update it with new features. Sometimes it's just some kind of bug fixes, and these will run automatically, so every now and then you'll get an alert when you open Snap to say that it needs an update, and those features will be added as an update. So this little light bulb feature will literally just tell you what's been included in that update, so whether there's some new features or whether there's maybe just something that's been improved in there as well. The next is this cloud button here, and I'm going to go into more detail in our Do More with Snap Core First session, so please do come along to that. But this feature basically allows us to do things like back up our page set to the cloud, share page sets with other people, and do things like remote editing as well. The edit button here, so this cog and pencil, is going to be where we click to make any changes to the system. And again, over the next few sessions, we will learn a bit more about the different functions of that. So now I want to just concentrate on this toolbar and show you those different tools that we've just learnt about. So something to note about this toolbar in particular is that this provides support for what we call flat navigation. And basically what that means is that this toolbar is always going to be available regardless of where I am within the system. So I could come into topics and I can maybe do a deep dive and go and do lots and lots of clicking. But I want to, let's say, go back to my core words. Now, I can hit my back button and that will take me to the previous page. But in this instance, I can just do one click onto core words and it'll take me directly back to that tool. So it really allows for that quick, easy navigation. So we talked a bit about our core words and how we can use these core words either in isolation. We can start combining them.
More.
We can even do something like this.
Want more.
I'm going to now go to this pink button here, which is these are my fringe vocabulary, and this all word list is going to take me basically to categories of different words, and I can come into, let's say, food and drink, and you'll notice here that we've got lots of different types of food and drink, and we've actually got some related lists up here. Now this is all kind of preset, so you download Snap Core First for the first time, you're going to get all of this content. Of course, over time we're probably going to want to personalize it for our user, and we're going to learn how to do that in the customized Core First session. But for now, I'm just going to use what's here. I'm going to go to breakfast words, Cheerios, and now I can either hit the speak button or the message window.
I want more Cheerios.
And I've got my full sentence there. Up here, I can do things like delete a word. So maybe if I wanted to go back into something else, it wasn't Cheerios that I wanted. Maybe I wanted toast instead. Or if I want to clear the whole message, I can just click on clear here. In Quickfire, so we've got our kind of main page that's got the kind of some of the most common things. So it allows us to do things like respond and
look, no, yes.
And then we've got a couple of other categories up here. So we talked about social
How are you? Do you have a few minutes?
And things like
I am thirsty. I need to take a break.
So you can see with the click of one button, we can portray a whole message that's going to allow us to engage or continue that interaction that we're having. I'm going to use the toolbar again now to go into my topics. So when you download Snap Call First, you're going to have all of these topics that are preset that everybody can have access to. And we've created these topics based on trying to support people of all ages, of all abilities, and of all interests as well. So again, it may be that when we're working with somebody specific that we want to personalise that, maybe take some out if we're working with an adult or if we're working with a child. And we'll also be able to create some of our own topics. And again, we'll discuss that in the customised session. But I just want to give you an example. So I'm going to go into this bubbles page. I remember that we talked about how these topics have lots of different types of language in them. So you've actually colour coded these. So you'll notice the buttons with the blue are questions.
Can we do bubbles?
Buttons with the orange are kind of comments, requests, directions.
Pop it.
And then we've got positive statements.
I popped it.
And negative
that was
statements.
A bad one.
And space to create our own as well. Now, something that I wanted to highlight with this page in particular is that some of these topics, and Bubbles is a really good example of it, is it provides what we call errorless learning. So if I am in a session, I've got my bubbles and we're ready and we're really within this context, and I put Snap Call First in front of a user, it might be for the first time, they can come in here, and even if they completely randomly press something, so let's say I'm not going to look.
Give me the bubble one, please.
Because we're within this context, I can immediately respond to that. And the reason I'm going to do that is for a couple of reasons. I'm going to honour that they've engaged in conversation with me, and I'm going to assign meaning to what they've said. Oh, you want to hold the bubble wand? Oh, okay, you have the bubble wand. Okay, I want you to
blow it.
Blow the bubbles. And again, it gives me opportunities to model as well. And so even if we've got somebody that's really at that emergent stage and we're just trying to get them to begin that kind of back and forth interaction of I say something, you say something, these kind of pages are really, really good for that. You'll notice on the topic page that we always provide specific topic words. We've got some related lists across the side as well. And then you'll also notice that we've got these behaviour supports that are built in. So we will be covering this in more detail in our session around behaviour supports. But I just want to give you a bit of a summary of what's available. So we've got visual timers. So we know that these are really useful for queuing into an activity or to indicate when an activity is going to end. This one's set for 5 minutes, and you'll notice that the red bar is going to reduce over time to indicate that that time is coming down. And it will also ring an alarm at the end. Then we've got a couple of examples of visual schedules. This is a 4-step one.
First, get out the bubbles. Next, carefully blow without knocking over the bottle.
And so these are just built-in, ready ones that we've created, but we do have templates available for these, so we will be able to learn how to create some of our own behavioural supports in our behavioural support session. And then we've got a couple of examples of how to use a social script as well. So this one's about, when and how we use bubbles.
When I want to blow bubbles, I'll ask an adult to help me get set up.
So that's just showing you those behavioural supports that are built into Snap Call First then. So next we're going to have a look at this keyboard. As we mentioned, using keyboards is really, really important, having access to that, whether we're using it as a writing method, but in this instance, for communication. So let's say that our learner is beginning to spell and wants to start spelling some of their words as opposed to using some of the other topics. Something to note up here is that we are using, in this instance, symbol prediction. And in this situation, it's completely okay to do that because the purpose of using this here is, and using our keyboard is for communication. And we want to do that as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So if we can start to predict here, it's actually going to help us build that sentence more quickly. Just like I use prediction on my keyboard when I'm typing, it helps me spell better for one, and also type at a much quicker rate. And that's the same kind of result that we want with our AAC users as well. There's a few different keyboard layouts that we can use. So whether we want to, so this one's aimed at kind of bigger buttons for maybe somebody that's using eye gaze. We can have a QWERTY keyboard, we can have a high frequency keyboard, and we can change that by coming into Edit, Page Set down here, and then Keyboard Page. And I can scroll through and find some different keyboards. So it's definitely worth kind of exploring some of those layouts and seeing which would support your user in the best way. The last thing that I want to show you on the toolbar is the dashboard. Now, in here we can do things like look at the volume and control the volume on our device, check for battery life, look at the date and time. And then we've got some really good resources for kind of beyond communication. So we can do things like access Boardmaker activities, use the integrated Google Assistant, launch apps, use remote control for controlling our environment. And we're going to go into more detail on this, and I'll do more with Snap Core first. So please do join us for that session if you'd like to learn more about that. So that's a very quick whistle-stop tour of Snap Core first. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to sign up for a free trial. So currently we've got a 60-day free trial that anybody can sign up to. As mentioned before, if you are a professional, you can actually sign up for a perpetually free license, which will basically allow you to use your version of Snap Core first for things like assessments. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So first thing I need to do is go to the My Tobii Dynavox website. Once that's loaded up, I'm going to click on Store here. I'm going to scroll down to where it says Snap Core first. And once I come onto this page, I'm just going to scroll down a little bit under Applications. And this section here that says Snap Core first with speech. And then over here, it's going to give me the prices for the different apps. And then under here, you'll see there's an option for a 60-day trial. And I can do that either on iPad or Windows. If I click on my preferred option there, it's now going to take me through 3 steps in which to do that. So the first one I need to do is if I click on this Start Trial, is it's going to ask me to either sign into my Tobii Dynavox account, or if I don't already have one, I can click and create one here. And remember, if you are a professional, there will be a little drop-down option for you to state that, so that you can activate that professional's account for that perpetually free version. Once I've logged in or created my account, I am then going to go through and it will activate that trial. Now, my trial's already been activated, but you'll be able to activate it there. Next step is to download the app, so you choose which version that you're going to use. And then the final step is making sure that we actually log into our My Tobii Dynavox account within the app at the startup. And I'm going to show you how to. When you open the app for the very first time, you're going to get this screen, and it's just going to take you through the kind of startup wizard. So I'm going to click on Getting Started. First thing I need to do is select my page set. So in this instance, we're talking about the core first page set, and I'm going to select the United Kingdom kind of localized version. Remember that there are a couple of other page sets, so there's a specific page set for scanning, for aphasia, and a text page set as well. But today we're going to open up the core first one. And then here is the vital bit where I need to log in to my Tobii Dynavox account. So I just need to use the email that I used to create that account and the password. It's then going to sync with that free account that I created, activate that free speaking kind of token that we're giving you. I can name this. I'm just going to give this a generic name. This is going to be my username. I then need to choose my voice, and I can use this little filter here. So I'm going to be working with a female child, so I want to use the rosy voice. I could choose my grid size. Now remember, we can change the grid size at any time, so don't worry if you're not too certain about which grid size you want to use. And then now it's just going to create that user. And it'll just take a couple of seconds, and then now I've got that user.
I want more.
With that free token. And that will be a 60-day trial for those, and for those that are professionals, you can have it for longer. So just wanted to talk about a couple of other resources that might be useful for you at this point. we do have an app called Pathways for Core First, and this is a kind of companion app to Snap Core First, which is basically for those that are supporting the user with AAC, and it's full of implementation resources, how-to videos, cheat sheets, and it's a goals grid in there, guides for building skills, and we will be looking at some of these features at some other future sessions that we'll be doing. But you can go and download this app for free. So just click on the link in the description below to go and find that. Another thing that I thought might be useful is we actually have free Core First communication books that you can download. We've got 2 different sizes, 6x6 grid and a 7x7, and this will basically emulate what's in the app. So this is a really, really great paper-based backup. So we know that there'll be some situations where we can't always use our device. We're in the bathroom, in the pool, or maybe hopefully one day at the beach on holiday. So this will provide a really, really great kind of backup version for when we maybe can't use the device. So again, click on the link in the description to access that. We've got a really nice blog that looks at communicating with core words. So for those of you that are maybe new, want to have a look at some different examples of how we can support with core words, there's some really nice videos within this blog as well that will give you some ideas and some examples. We want to encourage you to subscribe to this YouTube channel here. We've got lots of great content on there, and we're continuously adding some content, whether it's going to be recorded webinars, some short guides and demos, and we're going to cover all of our products here at Tobii Dynavox. But I want to specifically point you in the direction of our Tea with TD playlist. This is a playlist of 9 short sessions. They're just 20 minutes, and these are actually looking at supporting home learning. So we covered teaching core vocabulary at home, supporting your Snap Core First user during lockdown, and supporting healthy routines at home. So obviously great topics for now, but obviously carry quite a lot of longevity as well. So, you know, supporting core vocabulary. You can find it in the playlists list on this YouTube channel, or you can just follow the QR code here, and that will take you straight there. Thank you for joining us.